I never thought my life would shatter in a single night. When Luca called me at 2 a.m. saying, "Patrick, I'm in serious trouble," I assumed it was about money for rent or maybe a broken down car. But this was something else entirely. The sound of my apartment door being kicked in jolted me awake. Darkness surrounded me, but the moonlight streaming through my window revealed 3 men in black suits. Among them, one stood out. His scent was so dominant, so overwhelming, that my breath caught in my throat. Alpha. A purebred alpha. And he was staring at me like I was prey he'd been hunting. Luca Hayes's brother? His voice was deep, dangerous, each word dripping with authority. His gray eyes gleamed in the moonlight, sharp and calculating. I couldn't move. Every omega instinct I had screamed at me to run. But my body had frozen completely. I don't know what Luca did. I managed to stammer, my voice trembling. The alpha stepped closer, so close I could smell his cologne, cedar wood mixed with something dark, something that made my knees weak. "Your brother stole $3 million from my underground casino," he said, and my heart dropped into my stomach. "Until he returns every cent, you'll stay with me as collateral." "No, I didn't do anything." I tried to back away, but the wall stopped me. He moved closer, placing his hand against the wall beside my neck. I could feel the heat radiating from his body, making my skin tingle. "What's your name?" he asked, and the question was so casual, as if we just met at a coffee shop instead of him breaking into my home. Patrick," I whispered. "Patrick Hayes." He said my full name like he'd already researched everything about me. "I'm Julius Ashford. From now on, you'll live with me. In my home. In my bedroom." His eyes dropped to my lips before meeting mine again. "And I suggest you don't try to escape, Omega, because once I claim something as mine, I never let it go." My hands were shaking when he grabbed my wrist. His grip was strong but careful, like he knew exactly how fragile I was. I left everything that night. My pharmacy school notes, my tiny apartment, my normal life. Sitting in the black SUV with Julius beside me, his presence was so overwhelming I could barely breathe properly. This is kidnapping," I finally said, finding a sliver of courage in my voice. Julius looked at me, a slight smirk playing on his lips. "No, sweetheart. This is insurance." He went quiet for a moment, then added, "Your brother took a massive risk. Now you're his guarantee. Simple business." I stared out the window, watching the city lights blur past like tears in my eyes. Why would Luca do something like this? "Desperation," Julius said simply. "Expecting more from people than they can handle. That's the biggest mistake anyone can make." He glanced at me. "But this isn't your fault, Patrick. Remember that." The SUV stopped in front of a luxury building that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Julius took my hand, firm but not painful, and led me inside. We rode the elevator in silence. I could feel his eyes on me, studying me, but I kept my gaze fixed on the floor numbers changing. 20, 30, 40, finally, the penthouse. When the doors opened, I was hit with the scent of expensive leather and that same cedarwood cologne that seemed to define Julius. "Walk," he commanded softly, his hand on the small of my back guiding me forward. The penthouse was massive, floor-to-ceiling windows showing the city skyline, modern furniture that probably cost more than my entire education, marble floors that reflected the ambient lighting. This wasn't just wealth. This was power. "You live here alone?" I asked, my voice barely audible. "I prefer solitude," Julius replied, removing his jacket and tossing it onto a chair. "But that changes tonight." He led me down a hallway, past several closed doors, until we reached the end. When he opened the door, my stomach dropped. This was clearly his personal space, his sanctuary, and he was bringing me into it. "There are guest rooms," I said quickly. "No." His tone left no room for argument. "You stay where I can see you. Where I know you're safe." Safe. The word felt wrong coming from someone who'd just kidnapped me. But the way he said it with such conviction made me question everything. "My brother will get your money," I said, trying to sound confident. "He'll fix this." Julius moved closer and I instinctively pressed myself against the doorframe. "Your brother is a gambling addict who thought he could hack a casino system," he said, his voice low. "He's not fixing anything anytime soon. So get comfortable, Patrick. You're going to be here for a while." "How long?" I whispered. 1 week. If Luca doesn't come through. Julius reached out and I flinched, but he only tucked a strand of my hair behind my ear. Then we'll discuss more permanent arrangements. Permanent. The word echoed in my mind as he stepped back, giving me space to breathe. The bathroom is through there. He pointed to a door on the right. Everything you need should be stocked. If something's missing, tell me. And if I try to leave? Julius's expression darkened. Then I'll have to take measures to ensure you understand the severity of this situation. I don't want to do that, Patrick. I really don't. There was something in his voice, not quite a threat, but a promise. A warning that he meant every word. I need to call Luca, I said. I need to hear his voice. No, he's okay. Tomorrow morning, Julius agreed. Right now, you need rest. You look exhausted. He wasn't wrong. Between the shock, the fear, and the overwhelming scent of alpha pheromones saturating this room, I was ready to collapse. Where do I sleep? I asked, looking at the massive bed that dominated the space. Julius followed my gaze. There. Where else? With you? My voice pitched higher. Absolutely not. I'm not giving you a choice, he said, but his tone had softened slightly. I need to know you're not planning something foolish. This is the safest arrangement. Safe for who? For both of us. I wanted to argue, to fight, to demand basic human rights. But I was exhausted, terrified, and completely at his mercy. So I just nodded, defeated. Good, Julius said, moving toward his closet. I'm going to change. Don't try anything stupid. When he disappeared into the bathroom, I stood there, taking in my new reality. I was trapped in a penthouse with a dangerous alpha who claimed my brother owed him $3 million. And I had no idea if I'd ever make it out alive. But something told me, maybe it was intuition, maybe it was foolish hope, that Julius Ashford was more complicated than just a kidnapper. The way he looked at me, the careful way he touched me, the promise in his voice when he said I was safe, none of it made sense. And that terrified me most of all. Julius's penthouse was so large that my entire apartment could fit inside just one of his bathrooms. But he didn't put me in a guest room or some basement cell. No. He brought me straight to his bedroom, his personal domain. Here? I can't stay here, I protested when he opened the door. The room was decorated in dark colors, charcoal gray walls, black silk sheets, and a massive bed that seemed unnecessarily large for one person. Away from my sight? Not happening. Julius removed his jacket and threw it over a chair. His white shirt had the sleeves rolled up and I couldn't stop staring at his muscular forearms. Your brother is clever, Patrick. If I leave you alone, you'll run. And then I'll never recover my money. I need to use the bathroom, I said, just wanting to escape the room. I needed to think, to plan. But Julius stepped into my path. Bathroom's over there. He pointed to a corner of the room. If you need anything, ask me. You're not leaving this room unless I'm with you. This was insane. How can you keep me in your bedroom with you? He took a step toward me and I automatically moved back. Because I don't trust easily. Omega. And because his voice dropped lower, became more dangerous. I find your scent incredibly appealing. My face flushed hot. No. This couldn't be happening. I'm not your property. No? Julius raised an eyebrow. Then why does your scent get sweeter when I come closer? Why do your pupils dilate? I clenched my fists. Because you're an alpha and that's biology. It doesn't mean. I know what it doesn't mean. He grabbed my wrist. But this time his touch was softer. Confusing. But remember this. While you're here, no one can touch you. You're safe. Under my protection. I stared at him, trying to understand. This man had kidnapped me. But his words, he was talking about protection. Why would my safety matter to you? Julius hesitated for a second, then said, because once I take responsibility for something, I protect it. Even if the situation is forced. That night, I tried to sleep on the sofa with a blanket over me when Julius turned off the lights. I could hear his footsteps moving toward the bed. Several minutes of silence passed. Then, Patrick. I didn't answer. I know you're awake. Your breathing pattern changed. What do you want? I asked quietly. Sleeping on the sofa is uncomfortable. Come to bed. I'm fine here. Silence. Then I heard rustling. He was getting out of bed. My heart started racing. Was he? Julius picked me up, literally lifted me and carried me to the bed. I wanted to struggle, but his grip was too firm. I won't hurt you. Just sleep. He placed me on the opposite side of the bed. There was enough space between us for 2 more people, but still I could smell his scent with every breath I took. Cedar wood, musk, and something uniquely alpha, intoxicating and terrifying at once. Julius, I said hesitantly. Can I call Luca tomorrow? He finished my thought for me. Yes, then do it. In the morning. Tell him he has 1 week to arrange the money. Julius's voice softened slightly. And tell him you're safe. I won't hurt you, Patrick. That's a promise. I didn't say anything, but my chest tightened. This man was confusing, dangerous but protective, cold but maybe kind too. The next morning, when I woke up, Julius wasn't in bed. I sighed with relief and rushed to the bathroom. After showering, I came out wrapped in a towel, and he had returned, coffee cup in hand, dressed in a suit. His gaze fixed directly on me. There are clothes for you in the closet, he said casually, as if this were normal. I didn't ask for clothes. I checked the closet. Designer brands, all in my size. How did you know? I come prepared. Julius sipped his coffee. Besides, your pharmacy student wardrobe isn't suitable for this penthouse. Oh, so now you're judging my clothes too? I said, pulling on a white t-shirt and simple jeans. Sorry, I'm not rich enough to kidnap people. A slight smile appeared on Julius's lips. The first time I'd seen it. And honestly, that smile was terrifying because he looked good. Feisty Omega. I like that. Ignoring him, I picked up the phone he'd left on the table. I dialed Luca's number, and when he answered, Patrick. Brother, I'm so sorry. Luca. I cut him off. No emotion in my voice. Why did you drag me into this mess? 3 million? A casino? What were you thinking? Silence on the phone. Then Luca's broken voice came through. I had a gambling addiction. I thought I could win, Patrick. I knew I could win. I tried to hack the system, but you stole, I shouted. Julius looked at me but said nothing, just listened quietly. And now I've been kidnapped, Luca. Because of you. I'll pay it back. I swear. Just give me time. You have 1 week. Julius came closer to the phone, his voice threatening. Or your younger brother will face consequences. He hung up. I looked at him frightened. Consequences? What does that mean? Julius turned me around and pinned me against the wall. But carefully, still. His face was so close to mine. It means you'll have to stay here permanently, Patrick. With me. In my room. Under my protection. Protection? This is a cage. A cage? His finger touched my jaw. A light touch but commanding. If I wanted to cage you, you wouldn't have this bedroom luxury. This is something else. What is it then? I asked. My voice barely a whisper. My heart was pounding so hard I thought Julius could hear it. I'm trying to figure that out myself. He looked at me like I was some puzzle he was solving. Then suddenly he stepped back, giving me space. Breakfast is ready downstairs. Let's go. This was unexpected. I'm with you. Yes. With me. You won't eat alone like some prisoner. Understood? Julius placed his hand lightly on my shoulder. Come on, Patrick. In the afternoon, I stood by the window out of boredom. The city was so far away, and from here, there was no visible escape route. Julius was working on his laptop, but I knew his gaze occasionally drifted to me. Have you always been a criminal? I asked without thinking. Criminal? He closed his laptop and turned fully toward me. I'm a businessman, Patrick. Underground casinos, private clubs, exclusive deals, it's all legal. Mostly, lines get blurred when you deal with powerful people. He stood and came toward me, but slowly this time as if trying to make me comfortable. But understand this, I don't hurt innocent people. Only those who deserve it. So what do I deserve? I asked boldly, looking into his gray eyes. Julius grabbed my chin, turning my face toward his. You haven't done anything wrong. That's why I'm treating you with respect. But if you try to escape, I'll have to be strict, and I don't want that. There was something genuine in his voice that confused me. He didn't seem like a kidnapper. He seemed like something else. That night I headed back to the sofa. But this time Julius didn't pick me up. Instead, he brought a blanket and came to the floor near me. What are you doing? I asked, shocked. If you won't come to bed, I'll sleep here. He spread the blanket on the floor. This is ridiculous. It's your penthouse, your bed. And you're my responsibility, he said, looking at me. If you're sleeping on the floor, then so am I. Simple. I stared at him. This man was crazy. Arrogant, dangerous, controlling, and right now stubborn too. But also fine, I finally said and climbed onto the bed, curling up on one side. Happy? Julius also got into bed. On his side. Very. He turned off the lights and said after a few minutes, Patrick, if you need anything during the night, wake me. Okay, I whispered. And for the first time I felt a little secure. 3 days had passed. 3 days in that bedroom with Julius. And it was strange, he was never creepy or inappropriate. Rather, he was attentive. He asked what I wanted to eat, brought me books. Even set up Netflix. We watched TV together and sometimes Julius would smile at my silly commentary. But boundaries were breaking. Slowly. And I was noticing it too. I came out of the bathroom, and Julius was changing his shirt. I quickly looked away, but too late. He'd no need to be embarrassed, Patrick, he said, slight amusement in his voice. You're living here. These things are normal. Normal? Nothing is normal here. I sat on the sofa, frustrated. I'm a pharmacy student. I'm missing classes, assignments. Handled. Julius finished putting on his shirt. I spoke with your professor. Gave a medical emergency excuse. You've been granted extensions. I was shocked. You? How? And how did you get my professor's contact? I'm resourceful. He came closer to me, hands in his pockets. Patrick, I know this situation isn't ideal, but your education, your future, I won't let it be affected. This isn't your fault. His gray eyes held something different. Something genuine. And it was confusing me even more. He wasn't talking like a kidnapper. He was someone else. Why? I whispered. Why do you care? Julius looked at my face, his hand reaching toward my cheek but not touching. Just hovering in the air. Because you're innocent. Because your scent calms me. And because, he paused as if considering whether to continue. I haven't been comfortable with anyone in a long time, but I am with you. I couldn't speak. His confession was so raw it made my throat tight. That evening I was reading my pharmacy textbook when Julius's phone rang. I watched his jaw tighten, his eyes darken. He stood and moved toward the window. Yes, Marcus, he said, his voice completely businesslike. What happened? I listened. Julius's tone changed. He became that Mafia boss again, cold and commanding. But I noticed he kept glancing at me, as if ensuring I wasn't hearing too much. At the warehouse? How much loss? Pause. All right, I'm coming. Yes, double the security. And Marcus, his voice lowered further. No one should know I have someone here. He hung up and looked at me. I have to go out. Emergency situation. I'll be alone here? Fear crept into my voice, though I tried to hide it. Julius came over and took my hand. The door will be locked. Security guards are downstairs, my trusted people, and you'll have this phone. He handed me a phone. Only my number is in it. If anything happens, if you're scared, anything at all, call me. I'll come immediately. But what if I run away? I asked, testing him. Julius's grip tightened, but remained gentle. He came very close. Then I'll find you, Patrick. Every corner of this city is under my control. And the consequences, he ran his mam along my jaw, will be severe. But I know you won't run. How do you know? Because you know there's no safer place for you right now than here. He kissed my forehead, quick, possessive, and then left. When he was gone, I was alone. For the first time in 3 days, I went to the bathroom, checked the window way too far down, escape was impossible. Then I tried the door, obviously locked. I sat on the bed, phone in hand. I could call the police. Maybe I could escape. But then Julius's words echoed. I won't let your education be affected. I remembered his genuine concern, his protection, and most of all, his scent that had seeped into my system, that calmed me even when I didn't want it to. I put the phone down, and at that moment I realized I didn't want to run. That realization was terrifying. Night fell. I was in the bathroom when I heard the door open. Julius had returned. But when I came out, I froze. His shirt had blood on it. There was a cut on his face. His knuckles were bruised, split open. Julius. I rushed to him. What happened? Nothing. he said in a tired voice. He collapsed onto the couch. Just a small disagreement at the warehouse. Disagreement? You have blood on your face. I got the first aid kit from the bathroom. Thankfully, being a pharmacy student came in handy. Sit properly. Surprisingly, he listened to me. I carefully unbuttoned his shirt. There was blood there too, but the wound was shallow. I cleaned it with antiseptic, and Julius hissed. Does it hurt? I asked, concerned. Yes. Good, I said, but my hands were gentle. You deserve a little pain. Can't you protect yourself? Julius grabbed my wrist as I was applying the bandage. I can protect myself. But when other people are involved, priorities change. I didn't understand. What do you mean? He looked at me, vulnerability in his eyes. I was thinking about you, got distracted. That's why this happened. My breath caught. He was thinking about me? During a fight? You didn't run away, Julius said quietly. I focused on his cuts. I knew you'd come back. Only because of that, I looked at him, and in this moment, he looked vulnerable. Not the powerful mafia boss, just Julius. Just a man who was hurt and tired. No, I admitted, barely a whisper. Because maybe you're not as bad as I thought. And because I swallowed. I was worried about your safety too. Julius grabbed my wrist, pulled me toward him. I was in his lap, heart pounding. One hand was on my waist, the other cupping my face. Patrick, he whispered my name. You're entering dangerous territory. What territory? I asked. My voice soft. Where I won't let you leave. Even if Luca pays the money. Even if everything gets resolved. His thumb traced my lower lip. I want to keep you. Permanently. My heart almost stopped. Julius, I know it's wrong. I know this is a forced situation. But what I'm feeling, he pressed his forehead against mine. It's real, Patrick. And I don't know how I'll manage without you anymore. The air between us was charged with something unspoken, something dangerous and compelling. His gray eyes searched mine, looking for an answer I wasn't sure I could give. This is insane, I whispered. I know, Julius agreed. But when has anything about this situation been sane? He had a point. Nothing about being kidnapped, held in a mafia boss's bedroom and slowly developing feelings for my captor made any sense. Yet here I was, sitting in his lap, tending to his wounds, and feeling something I absolutely shouldn't feel. I should hate you, I said. You should, he acknowledged. But do you? That was the question, wasn't it? Did I hate Julius Ashford? The man who'd taken my freedom, who held me captive, who represented everything dangerous in this world? Or did I feel something else entirely? I didn't answer, because I wasn't sure I wanted to know the truth myself. 5 days had passed since Julius brought me to his penthouse. 5 days of living in his bedroom, sharing his space, breathing his scent with every moment. And the strangest part, he'd been nothing but considerate. He asked about my food preferences, ordered my favorite books online, even set up a laptop so I could keep up with my pharmacy coursework remotely. We'd fallen into an odd routine. Mornings, he'd already be awake when I opened my eyes, usually working on his laptop while I slept. Afternoons, we'd eat lunch together on the balcony. He'd started allowing me out there, though security was always visible below. Evenings, we'd watch movies, and sometimes I'd catch him smiling at my reactions to plot twists. The boundaries between captor and captive were blurring. And that terrified me more than anything. One morning, I emerged from the shower to find Julius changing clothes. I quickly averted my eyes, but not before noticing the defined muscles of his back, the way his shoulders moved as he pulled on a fresh shirt. You don't need to look away, he said without turning around. We're living together, it's natural. Nothing about this is natural, I muttered, wrapping my towel tighter. I'm missing my entire life out there. Your professors have been notified, Julius said, buttoning his shirt. You're listed as dealing with a family emergency. Your grades won't suffer. I stared at him. You really did contact my school. I don't make empty promises, Patrick. He turned to face me, and something in his expression made my breath catch. Your future matters, even if the present is complicated. Why? The question burst out before I could stop it. Why would you care about my education? I'm just leverage to you. Julius crossed the room slowly, deliberately, until he stood right in front of me, close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. Is that truly what you think you are? My mouth went dry. What else would I be? Something far more valuable than leverage. His hand rose and I thought he might touch my face, but he stopped just short, his fingers hovering near my cheek. Someone who makes this empty penthouse feel less like a prison and more like a home. Before I could respond, his phone shattered the moment. Julius stepped back immediately, his expression shifting to something harder, colder. Marcus. Report. I watched as his entire demeanor transformed. This was the Mafia boss. The dangerous man who'd taken me from my apartment. How many were injured? A pause. Get them to Dr. Chen. I don't care what it costs. Another pause. No. Don't retaliate yet. I need to handle this personally. When he hung up, tension radiated from him. I have to leave. There's been an incident at one of my properties. Fear spiked through me. An incident? Nothing for you to worry about. He went to his closet, pulling out a jacket. You'll be locked in, as always. Security is downstairs. And Patrick, he handed me a phone. This is only for emergencies. But if you need me for any reason, call. I'll answer. What if I tried to call the police? I asked, testing. Julius's jaw tightened. Then I'd be very disappointed. And we'd have to have a conversation about trust that neither of us would enjoy. He moved closer again, and I could smell his cologne with something sharper, tension. Maybe even concern. But you won't. Because despite everything, you know you're safer here than anywhere else right now. He was right. And I hated that he was right. After Julius left, the penthouse felt larger, emptier. I wandered through the bedroom, touching his things, expensive watches on the dresser, a photo of what looked like younger Julius with an older man, probably his father, books on the nightstand, surprisingly literary fiction mixed with business strategy. I picked up one book, flipped through it, found notes in the margins in his handwriting. This man who'd kidnapped me was real, three-dimensional, not just a villain in my story. Hours passed. I tried to read to focus on my coursework, but my mind kept drifting. Where was Julius? What kind of incident required personal handling? Was he in danger? That last thought startled me. Why would I care if he was in danger? Night fell. Still no Julius. I paced the room, checked the phone he'd given me repeatedly. No calls, no messages. The city lights twinkled far below and I felt like I was in a tower. Some twisted fairy tale where the dragon was also the prince. Finally, near midnight, I heard the lock click. The door opened and Julius stumbled in. Blood. There was blood on his shirt. His jacket, a cut above his eyebrow, was still bleeding sluggishly. His knuckles were raw and swollen. Oh my God. I rushed to him without thinking. What happened? Are you hurt? I'm fine, but his voice was strained, tired in a way I hadn't heard before. You're bleeding. I guided him to sit on the edge of the bed. Stay here. Don't move. I ran to the bathroom, grabbed the first aid kit I'd noticed earlier. Thank God for my pharmacy training. I actually knew how to handle this. When I returned, Julius was watching me with an expression I couldn't read. Take off your shirt, I ordered. Patrick, just do it. I need to see if you're hurt anywhere else. He complied, wincing slightly as he pulled the blood-stained shirt over his head. There was a gash on his shoulder, not deep but definitely needing attention. I cleaned it carefully with antiseptic, trying to ignore how warm his skin felt under my hands, how his breathing changed when I touched him. You need to be more careful, I said quietly, applying butterfly bandages. Difficult in my line of work, then maybe you should consider a different line of work. I moved to the cut on his face, dabbing it gently. What happened tonight? Rival organization tried to send a message. They failed. People got hurt. Yes. But they're being taken care of. Julius caught my wrist gently as I finished bandaging his face. Thank you. For what? For not running when I was gone. For staying. For... He gestured to the first aid supplies. For this. I told you I wouldn't run. I tried to pull my hand back but he held on. You also said you hated me. I never said that. You thought it. Maybe at first. I finally met his eyes. But things change, do they? Julius pulled me closer until I was standing between his knees, his hand still holding my wrist. Because I need to know, Patrick. I need to know if you're staying because you have no choice. Or if there's something else. My heart was pounding so hard I was sure he could hear it. I don't know what you want me to say. The truth. Just the truth. The truth is complicated. I looked down at our hands. His large and scarred, mine smaller, softer. The truth is, I should hate you. You kidnapped me. You're holding me here against my will. But when you were gone tonight, I was worried. I kept checking that phone, wondering if you were okay. And when you came through that door bleeding, all I could think about was making sure you weren't tryly hurt. I finally looked up at him. So yes, things change. I'm changing, and I don't know what that means. Julius released my wrist, only to cup my face with both hands. It means we're both in trouble. What kind of trouble? The kind where I don't know if I can let you go, even when this is over. The kind where keeping you here has stopped being about your brother's debt and started being about something else entirely. His thumb stroked my cheekbone. You're becoming necessary to me, Patrick, and that's dangerous for both of us. I should have been afraid. I should have pulled away. Instead, I found myself leaning into his touch, my hands coming to rest on his bare shoulders. Julius, I whispered, not even sure what I was asking for. I know, he said softly. I know. We stayed like that for a long moment. The air between us charged with possibility and danger in equal measure. Then Julius carefully released me and stood up. You should sleep, he said, his voice rough. It's late. But as we lay in the bed that night, the space between us felt smaller than ever before. And when I woke up in the morning, I was curled against his chest, his arm around my waist, and neither of us had any excuse for how we'd ended up that way. The next morning felt different. Wrong. Somehow, I woke up overheated, my skin hypersensitive where Julius's arm rested across my waist. Everything felt too intense. The silk sheets against my legs, the scent of cedarwood that permeated the room, the warmth of Julius's body so close to mine. No. Please. Not now, Patrick? Julius's voice was rough with sleep. Are you all right? You're trembling. I tried to move away, but my limbs felt heavy, uncoordinated. I'm fine. I need the bathroom. But as I stood, a wave of dizziness hit me. Julius was beside me instantly, steadying me. You're burning up. What's wrong? The concern in his voice made everything worse. His scent wrapped around me and I felt my body responding in ways I absolutely could not allow right now. Not with him. Not he. It's nothing. Let me go. Your scent. Julius's voice changed, deepened. Patrick, when's your heat due? Ice flooded through me despite the fever in my skin. That's none of your business. Answer me. His grip on my arms tightened slightly. When? Not for another 2 weeks. I said desperately. It shouldn't be happening now. The stress must have triggered it early. I watched Julius's expression shift through several emotions. Realization, desire, and then something that looked almost like fear. You need suppressants. They're at my apartment. I didn't exactly have time to pack when your men broke down my door. Julius released me immediately, putting distance between us. All right, okay. I'll have Marcus get them. What brand? What dosage? I told him, my voice shaking. Julius pulled out his phone, making the call while deliberately not looking at me. I could see the tension in his shoulders, the way his jaw clenched, an alpha in close quarters with an omega in heat. This was dangerous territory for both of us. They'll be here within the hour, he said after hanging up. Until then, he moved toward the door. I should leave. No. The word came out more desperate than I intended. The thought of being alone right now, vulnerable and unable to think clearly, was terrifying. Julius stopped, his back to me. Patrick, you don't understand. If I stay, with your scent changing like this, my instinct. I trust you. The words surprised both of us. He turned slowly. You shouldn't. But I do. For a long moment we just stared at each other. Then Julius moved to the closet, pulling out extra blankets. Get into bed. Try to stay cool. I'll stay in the chair by the window, far enough away that we're both safe. The next hour was torture. The heat symptoms intensified, waves of fever alternating with chills. My skin so sensitive that even the sheets felt like too much contact. And through it all, Julius's scent called to my omega instincts, making me want to go to him to seek the comfort and protection an alpha could provide. Julius, I called out weakly. Don't. His voice was strained. Don't say my name like that. I'm sorry, everything hurts. I know. The suppressants will help. Just hold on. Finally, Marcus arrived. Julius went to get the medication, returning with pills and water, He approached the bed carefully, keeping his movements slow and non-threatening. Take these. 2 now, then 1 every 6 hours until the heat passes. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped the glass. Julius steadied it, his fingers brushing mine. The contact sent electricity through both of us. Patrick. His voice was a warning and a plea. I'm trying, I whispered. But your scent, it's making everything more intense. I'll open the windows. Get some fresh air circulating. He moved away, and I swallowed the pills. Within 20 minutes the worst of the symptoms began to ease. The fever broke, leaving me exhausted and drenched in sweat. Julius handed me a clean shirt, his shirt, and turned his back while I changed. You can look now, I said quietly. He turned, and something in his expression made my breath catch. How are you feeling? Better. Tired. Embarrassed. Don't be. Julius sat on the edge of the bed, still maintaining careful distance. It's biology, not something you can control. Did you? I hesitated. Did you want to earlier when the heat first hit? Want to what? Take advantage. I wouldn't have been able to stop you. Julius's eyes flashed with something dark and angry. Is that what you think of me? That I'd force myself on someone who couldn't consent? I don't know what to think anymore. He stood abruptly, pacing to the window. Yes. I wanted you. I'm an alpha, and you're an omega in heat. Of course my instincts were screaming at me. But wanting something and acting on it without permission are two entirely different things. He turned to face me. I may be a criminal, Patrick, but I'm not a monster. I didn't mean. You did. And maybe that's fair. I did kidnap you after all. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident. But there are lines even I won't cross. And taking caging of someone in a vulnerable state? That's not just a line, that's a canyon I'll never cross. Silence fell between us. Finally I said, thank you, for getting the suppressants. For respecting me. Julius came back to the bed, kneeling beside it so we were at eye level. Patrick, I need you to understand something. What I feel for you, it's not just about biology or pheromones or omega-alpha dynamics. It's more than that. What is it then? I don't know, I've never felt anything like this before. His hand reached out, hovering near my face but not touching. But I know it's real. And I know that when this situation ends, when your brother pays his debt, I'm not sure I can let you walk away. That sounds like a threat. It's not. It's a warning. To both of us. He finally let his hand drop. Get some rest. The suppressants will make you drowsy. I'll be right here if you need anything. As I drifted off to sleep, I felt the bed dip slightly. Julius had lain down beside me, still maintaining that careful distance. But when I reached out in my sleep-addled state, seeking comfort, his hand found mine. Our fingers intertwined and neither of us let go. When I woke up hours later, the heat symptoms had mostly subsided. But something else had changed. Julius was asleep beside me. His face relaxed in a way I'd never seen while he was awake. He looked younger, less dangerous. Almost vulnerable. I should have moved away. Should have put distance between us. Instead, I found myself studying his features, the strong line of his jaw, the slight scar above his eyebrow, the way his dark hair fell across his forehead. You're staring, he murmured without opening his eyes. I startled. I thought you were asleep. Light sleeper. Hazard of the profession. He opened his eyes, and we were so close I could see flecks of silver in the gray. Feeling better? Much better. The suppressants worked. Good. But he didn't move away. Neither did I. Julius. What happens when this is over? When Luca pays the money? I told you. I don't think I can let you go. And what if I want to go? Then I'll let you. His thumb stroked the back of my hand. I won't keep you here against your will forever, Patrick. But I'm hoping that when the time comes, you won't want to leave. That's a dangerous hope. All the best ones are. We lay there in the fading afternoon light, hands still clasped, both of us pretending we didn't know exactly what was happening between us. Both of us pretending that when choice finally came, the decision would be simple. But we both knew better. Nothing about us was simple anymore. 7 days. That's all Luca had been given. When he called on day 6, panic was evident in his voice. Patrick, I have half. Just half. I need more time. I looked at Julius, who'd been listening on speaker. His expression was unreadable. How much more time? 48 hours. Please. I'm selling everything I own. Julius took the phone. 48 hours, Luca. Not a minute more. And this is your only extension. After he hung up, Julius turned to me. Are you all right? I don't know. Part of me wants to be angry at him for putting me in this situation. But he's still my brother. Family's complicated. Julius moved to the window, staring out at the city. I understand that better than you might think. Is that why you do what you do? Family business? My father built this empire. When he died, I inherited everything. The casinos, the clubs, the protection rackets, and the responsibility for everyone who depends on this organization. He turned back to me. I'm not asking you to approve, just to understand that it's not as simple as good and evil. Nothing's as simple as I thought it was. I admitted. The next 2 days felt strange. Julius was different, more distant, but somehow more attentive at the same time. He'd look at me when he thought I wasn't watching. He'd start to reach for me, then stop himself. The tension between us was palpable, building toward something inevitable. On the morning of day 9, Julius took me out to the balcony. It was the first time he'd allowed me outside since the kidnapping, and the fresh air felt like freedom. Patrick, I need to ask you something, he said, handing me a cup of coffee. And I need you to answer honestly. All right, if Luca comes through today, if he brings the money, will you want to leave? I'd known this question was coming, but I still didn't have an answer ready. I'm not sure. Then let me make it easier. Julius set down his cup and faced me fully. Or maybe harder. I don't know anymore. He took a breath. When you first came here, you were collateral. A means to an end. But somewhere along the way, that changed. You changed everything. Julius, let me finish. Please. His gray eyes were intense, almost desperate. I've spent years building walls, keeping people at a distance. It's necessary in my world. Trust is dangerous. Attachment is a weakness. But then you came into my life. With your stubbornness and your kindness and the way you look at me like I'm more than just what I do. And those walls, they're crumbling. My heart was racing. What are you saying? I'm saying that I want you to stay. Not because I'm forcing you, not because of your brother's debt, but because you choose to. I want to do this right. Actual dates. Getting to know each other without the kidnapping hanging over us. Building something real. He moved closer. But only if that's what you want. I'm giving you a choice, Patrick. Real choice. When Luca brings that money, you can walk out of here. I won't stop you. I'll make sure you have everything you need to restart your life. And if I stay, then I promise to spend every day proving that you made the right decision. I'll protect you, support your dreams. Be whatever you need me to be. His hand came up to cup my face, and this time he didn't stop himself. I'll be yours, completely. Before I could respond, his phone rang. Marcus. He's here. Luca's downstairs with the money. Bring him up. Julius lowered his hand but held my gaze. This is it. Choice time. Minutes later, Luca burst into the penthouse. He looked terrible, exhausted, hollow-eyed, like he hadn't slept in days. Patrick. He tried to rush to me, but Julius's security held him back. The money first, Julius said coldly. Luca held up a briefcase, hands shaking. It's all here. 3 million. Count it. While Marcus verified the amount, Luca looked at me desperately. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? I'm so sorry, Patrick. This is all my fault. I'm fine, Luca. He didn't hurt me. Then come on. Let's get out of here. We can start over somewhere else. Away from all this. I looked between my brother and Julius. Luca, familiar and family. Representing my old life, my safety, everything I'd known. And Julius, dangerous and compelling, representing uncertainty and possibility in something I'd never felt before. It's all here, Marcus confirmed. Julius nodded. Then we're square. Luca, you're free to go. His eyes found mine. And so is Patrick. If he wants to. Of course he wants to. Luca grabbed my arm. Right? Patrick, let's go. Now. But I didn't move. I looked at Julius, saw the vulnerability he was trying to hide. The hope and fear warring in his expression. This man who'd given me a choice when he could have just kept me. This man who'd respected me even when his instincts screamed otherwise. Luca, I said quietly. I need you to listen to me. We're leaving. That's all there is. I'm not going with you. Silence fell over the room. Luca stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. What? Patrick. He kidnapped you. You can't possibly. He gave me a choice. A real one. And I'm choosing to stay. This is insane. You have Stockholm Syndrome or something. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking perfectly clearly. I pulled my arm from his grip. For the first time in a long time, actually. And I'm choosing this. Choosing him. Julius stepped forward. Luca, you have your freedom. The debt is paid. But Patrick stays by his own choice. And if you're truly his brother, you'll respect that. Luca looked between us. Confusion and hurt written across his face. I don't understand. You don't have to, I said gently. Just trust that I know what I'm doing. And Luca, get help. Real help. For the gambling. Because I can't go through this again. Finally, reluctantly, Luca nodded. If you need me, if you change your mind, I'll call you. I promise. After Luca left, the penthouse felt different. Lighter somehow. Julius and I stood facing each other. The weight of what had just happened settling between us. Are you sure? Julius asked quietly. Because once you make this choice, once you're mine by your own decision rather than by circumstance, I meant what I said. I won't let you go easily. I know. I closed the distance between us. And I'm counting on that. Julius pulled me into his arms, holding me like I was something precious. I'll make this right. Everything that came before, the fear and the force, I'll make up for all of it. I know you will. I pulled back just enough to meet his eyes. But Julius, I need you to promise me something. Anything. Promise me this is real. That what you feel isn't just about possession or the chase. Promise me you see me as a person, not just something you won. Julius cupped my face in both hands, his gray eyes intense and honest. Patrick, you're the first person I've seen as anything more than a transaction in years. You make me want to be better, to deserve you. This isn't about possession. It's about partnership, about choosing each other every day, not just today. Then show me, I whispered. Show me what it means to be truly chosen. He kissed me then. Not the desperate, restrained kisses from before, but something deeper. A promise sealed with touch. A beginning rather than an end. When we finally pulled apart, both breathless, Julius rested his forehead against mine. Welcome home, Patrick. Really home this time. And looking into his eyes, feeling his arms around me, knowing I'd chosen this freely, I finally understood what home really meant. Not a place, but a person. Not safety from the world, but safety within it. Take me to bed, I said softly. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. This time when Julius led me to that massive bed, it wasn't as captor and captive. It was as something infinitely more complex and infinitely more real. Two people who'd found each other in the worst possible way, but who'd chosen to turn that beginning into something worth keeping. I love you, Julius whispered against my skin. I know it's too soon to say it, but I do. Then it's good, I whispered back. That I love you too.